Hey, I got you guys all on already. We're running a little behind, so thought I'd get you with a little sneak there tonight.
Where's Kenna?
Kenna is having, I guess, her son burnt dinner, like something caught on fire.
Okay.
So,
All right, good.
and her husband's got to take a psychology test. So hopefully she joins us if she finds a way. And of course, we're not going to have Tori tonight. She took another shift at her job. So
She took a what at her job?
an extra shift.
Oh, okay. Just making sure she wasn't taking a dump on company time.
might just be us tonight.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to everybody that was in the comments early. You guys are the best for showing up early.
Yes, absolutely. We were running late. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I'm the one that runs all the making sure everything runs smooth. And everybody knows we got Matt's Halloween party this weekend at Wilson Castle. So I'm running around the house, packing because I'm leaving tomorrow night. And I almost fell down the stairs on my way up here. Baby gates, you know how those work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Actually, Matt, you guys are going to appreciate this. So, some friends of ours had come out to the homestead earlier this year. Well, they came out to hang out, and we had some stuff up at the homestead. So we went down, checked it out, and I gave him some of the old wood from the building. He's a collector himself. Fabricated this out of homestead.
Oh, I saw that in their Insta story today.
Yeah, dude, look at that. It's actually got glass from the homestead too. Right?
Dude, Darren, yes, baby gates suck.
What was that?
What?
I was replying to Darren. He's like, baby gates suck. I was like, dude,
Well,
they do. I gotta go over like 3 baby gates just to get to my podcast room.
He brought my baby back. He repaired this for me too. It was all warped, so he repaired it. Looking good as new now. Clean.
Oh, thank you, Marion. Her costume came out so good. She looked so badass in it, and I couldn't have been prouder.
She did.
She told me yesterday she wanted to be Sam from Trick or Treat, and I said, "I got you, fam. Say no more." And we knocked it out of the park.
Is that the Trick or Treat with Dee Snider?
No, it's a different Trick or Treat.
Oh, I haven't seen her costume yet. I've been fucking all over the world today.
Falling down the stairs.
Yeah. And surprisingly, I've only had 3 beers, so I'm still slightly sober.
Well, maybe you need to have more. Not that I'm ever going to encourage you to have more, but
I do want to say I like Matt's shirt tonight. I like that. It is pretty
thank
sick.
you. Yeah. So sick right there.
Is that you?
Yeah.
God, we can't get enough of you.
I can't get enough of me either.
Apparently.
Matt dressing up as Matt for Halloween.
Can you just be
Fun
Steve-O?
My best friend dressed up as me one year for Halloween, blew my fucking mind.
Just get your own portrait tattooed on your ass. Or your full back.
Well, all right. So I actually do plan on getting something like that. So hear me out. I'm going to get so my heritage is Swedish. I'm going to get a Swedish Viking going into battle in my likeness. So
on your ass?
Oh, my left thigh.
Jesus.
I'll see that.
Mike's getting all hot and bothered. He's like, damn.
It's actually really hot up here. I closed the windows because it's been getting really hot or cold lately. So I closed the windows, and it's actually really hot in here now.
Hey, Bill.
Melissa. Hey, Tim. Hey, everybody.
What up,
We'll see Tim in a couple days.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, Casey said you guys and your tattoos, you got to get real jobs. I don't know if anybody saw that post today on Gateway.
Oh, that guy deleted the comment too. that punk ass bitch deleted the comment. I was like, because I had a good rebuttal. Oh well.
The comments you get are, especially on Amazon, like Steve, the comments on Amazon Prime are like, they're gold.
I think my favorite one we ever got was on Madhouse. Somebody gave us 2 stars and said it was pretty good, but it would have been better if somebody died.
I remember you telling me that story.
We'll try hard.
I'm sorry. The comments on the documentaries are amazing, but I'm sorry, nothing will beat the Evil of Nowhere, where the spirit told Alex Bob he was gay.
Yes, they did.
That will hands down forever be my favorite of anything.
They were throwing shade at us that night. Jerry straight out of quarantine. It was for MadCon 3 this year, back in Madison Seminary.
I wore mine right after the event, like a normal person would, but
Hey, I wear my shirts more than once.
Well, I have a lot of T-shirts.
And now you have
My
one with your
wife
name
hates
on
them.
it.
I can't afford a Haunted Nights T-shirt, so I got to make the most of my wardrobe.
Speaking of, I should probably
When
pack that.
you took the time to move my table at the parking lot, you should have snagged a couple.
We did. I'm using
Marcelo
my
at
wash
half
my
the
teeth.
price. How do you think I'm paying for my trip to Vermont?
Sold the stickers on the black market.
I stole your merch.
What's up, Matt? What's up, Matt? Yes, Tim. couple
Aaron, first
days.
of all, I am getting myself as a Viking tattooed, so that's going to happen. Stop sending me messages when I'm on camera.
Bill says got my
Unless for the
first
kind
gig
I
at,
want to see.
Bill's got
What's
his first gig at Eloise.
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 I don't know how to pronounce it. Friday.
Yeah,
That'll be
I
cool.
don't know, too.
That'll be sweet.
That
That's a
place
spot I
is
want to get out to.
Same. I'm excited to get out that way.
I'm hoping to do an event there next year.
Well, apparently we're not allowed to leave New York at all since 43 or 45 states are on our mandatory quarantine list now. So basically we're not allowed to leave without quarantining. So
Ooh, so you're sneaking around on Saturday. How is Vermont
no,
still okay?
Vermont's safe. We're good in Vermont.
Good.
I was actually just there today for work. But yeah, Vermont's safe. We're good.
That's awesome.
But,
Awesome.
yeah, everywhere else is like, that's why I'm worried. Like, Ohio's on the list, but they come on off every couple of weeks. So I have the event at Madison in a few weeks, but hopefully they'll be back off by then. I've seen their cases start to go down the last few days, so maybe they'll get pulled back off. If not, I might just go and then quarantine for 2 weeks after. I can't keep moving. It's nuts. It doesn't make any sense, really.
It doesn't.
No.
There's Nick. I know Nick's supposed to be coming out to Madison. I know he's going to go regardless of the quarantine or not. He basically said, screw that quarantine.
Hey, Darren.
What are we up to tonight, Matt? Talking
See it.
nonsense, like usual. We're
We got
trying to find new
special
jobs.
guests on.
We all have tattoos,
Thank you,
so we're
Melissa.
doing a job.
We got special
Yes, I
guests
am
on
taking
tonight.
it.
They're actually waiting.
Yeah, those are the kind of pictures, Aaron. Keep them coming.
Like nobody's listening. They're Matt's guests, and he ain't even listening.
Oh wait,
I
they're
heard
in
you.
already. They're
What do you
waiting.
think sent them the link, bro?
I know they're already here. They're waiting. They're waiting.
What are they waiting? Bring them in.
You
Bring
you
them
gonna
in.
introduce them?
They're not my guests. They're our guests. They're my friends.
All right,
They're
I'm just gonna
our
bring them in. No introduction
Yeah.
needed. Here we go.
Hey guys. Good evening.
Now you can introduce them, Matt.
I met you guys once or twice.
Is
Jimmy,
that Zach Bagans?
Jimmy and Kyle, right?
I know they were talking about
You
demons
reckon
And
earlier.
there's
That's
Demon.
right. Yes. This room is famous. It was.
It is James Anito and Carl L. Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, the two that need no introduction.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, Matt. And I hopefully it was more than one or twice. You've been to my house, so.
You're not supposed to tell people about that. Erin's watching. She's going to be jealous.
Okay. We only spooned a little bit.
It was a
He
big
at least took me out to dinner before he came to my house.
I haven't been to your house yet, Steve. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh man.
Watch out. He likes to poke the tent a little bit.
So I told him we had a guest room, but really he's sleeping in bed with me.
They're getting right into this. It was an earthy show. You don't want to talk about it, right?
Yeah, Carl, I apologize. This isn't the most classy show you've ever been on.
It's I'm shivering. Where's your
Classy.
class? I don't understand this stuff. It's a classy. I do the classy engagements. Yeah.
Classy.
Nah, you could save that. You guys got another show after this, right?
Yes, we do.
Midnight. At midnight.
At
Oh my
midnight?
God.
Yes.
Oh.
Holy Lord. I know you
Have
guys
one, and then
have
we
one
have
prior.
Yep.
It's a long night. We've been anticipating for some time. We have.
Yeah, if for some people that are listening after this show, we have a pre-recorded show coming out at some point around this time. So everybody's going to think after this show we have another show, but no, fortunately we get a little bit of a break.
Midnight, though.
Yeah. We might even take in a movie.
We're probably watching a movie, yeah.
We'll watch a movie.
You
You
should.
guys probably
Right.
I recommend the Notebook.
Tearjerker. Yeah. So I'd like to say, what are you guys up to? But I know something of what it was upcoming and forthcoming. Like last week, we were in Maine
Yes.
for Powerfest?
Yep. And
Yep.
then this Saturday,
Powerfest, man.
I wonder where we're gonna be.
Yeah, well, he said the name of the state, so that's
Yeah,
a hint
yeah.
right there.
Vermont.
Ohio? You guys gonna be in Ohio?
Yeah.
Kansas?
Take a run in Albuquerque. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to make 3 weekends in a row. You guys have had to hang out with me. I apologize.
No,
That's 3 weekends. Yes, definitely. Because you were at the
That's a
Salem
lot.
for our event.
I was.
Yeah, we sat next to each other at Powerfest Maine, so we could keep away from
That's right, that's
cruel people.
Exactly. We got
We ate our Papagino's pizza, you and I.
Papagino's.
Yeah.
The only good kind of pizza. Mm-hmm.
Now we'll be at your event, what is it? Extravaganza?
The historical restoration extravaganza.
I saw that.
It's gonna be something, that's for sure.
That is Latin for unorganized, chaotic shit show.
So I was just out there last Friday, and that's basically how I described it to Andy and Denise. I'm like, you guys better be here next weekend because you are going to be in for a treat. It is a shit show for the ages.
We've got the greatest collection of people coming together for this.
Oh my God, like these spirits don't know what's going to hit them. They don't know what's going to hit them when they get there.
Matt, you can take this. Next year, you should call it Powerpalooza.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you guys to be the first guest then, since you came up with the name.
Okay.
But there's no pay.
Am I invited again?
I don't know, Steve. If you don't put on the Dog and Pony show Saturday, you're probably not invited again.
Listen, I'm bringing beer.
You can come.
I'm gonna bring you a Slick Fin.
Just one of those 800-ounce cans.
It's like one of those gold line cans.
Oh man, look at this. Somebody's actually watching our podcast from the TV.
Look at us
Of
go.
course they are, dude. We're kind of a big deal.
We're big deals now.
It's because of Carl and James. So it's really not us. Aaron
Thanks,
watches
yeah.
me on the big screen.
You
But
just gotta thank the HDMI cord. That's it.
that's not that hard.
Carl, all too well about the television screen.
Yeah.
He does.
Oh, they can do a number. What those producers they can do with editing, because once they have your image, you're locked into that. And they basically documented an investigation. They can, you've signed the release. They can do what they want with the editing. They can make you look good or bad or non-existent or non-participatory. They can cut you way down or they can amplify you. So you don't know. I don't know until I see the show what it's going to be. That's
why I'm worried about Saturday.
Then you don't want to see this when I edit it.
Yeah. Because
I look like Fat Fast. Get in my belly. Get in my belly.
we can have us all through the talk be saying, we don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We don't.
And there's demon growls in the background every time we talk.
Yeah, we don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah, we probably should not record anything this coming Saturday night because we'll all be held liable for something.
We should collect all the cell phones at the door so nobody can record anything.
Put them in a basket.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of crazy crap going on. That's for sure.
Now, in terms of Saturday, do you two have anything like in terms you want to do, like experiments or anything you're looking and interested to do Saturday when we're up at the castle?
Nothing they can say.
Yeah. It's something I employed in an actual investigation. It was actually called a demon trap. And not that everything's got to be a demon, an evil spirit or something. But it can work for like a discarnate entity, if you want to say that. It's having somebody placed in a circle. They are seated in the middle. They can sit in a chair if they wish. And what they do is, we were just talking a little while ago about how sometimes spirits can be drawn into somebody that's apprehensive. If you're scared of them, they're probably going to come out. There's something about that energy draws them, at least in theory. And the person in the middle has to be very apprehensive, very afraid, which is normally we're trying to steel ourselves and stay vitally interested and stay awake. And like nothing's going to deter me from my purpose. I just want to see something. But we have to kind of flip flop that for this experiment and be afraid of, just think of something. You're walking down an alley or, you're in a city and you're lost or something's really, or you're alone in a building. You got to be there for a certain number of hours and you sense something's in there. Whatever brings out that fear instinct, that fight or flight, whatever makes you like afraid and tremble, try to invoke that. Try to feel that, and it may draw something in. And it's a gas, really. You know,
Yes,
trying
Mike.
to do the opposite of what we're usually doing.
Go ahead, Mike.
Be afraid.
I think Mike wants to do it.
Mike wants to do it. Is that a
I think he's
volunteer?
volunteering.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do for Mike is we're going to put him up in the casket in the ballroom, and we're going to actually chain it shut for the night and see what happens.
If it works.
I'll do it. Hell.
Listen, I would lay in there, but there's too many spiders up there.
I'm not a big fan of spiders.
Yeah, what's your
No.
phobia? Well, if it's too,
No.
The spiders aren't that bad at that place, I will say. They're really not.
They're not. So
if
the
it's
whole
too agitated, you might be distracted.
They're like golf balls.
Oh, we can do fear factor. We can see who can eat the most spiders.
Eat the spiders instead.
The answer is 0.
I will say, when I was out there last weekend, we didn't see the bat at all either. So I think we're good on that front. I think it's getting a little colder now. They're kind of staying away. No bats, no
Spiders.
issues last weekend. It was active. We had some really good activity last weekend. So I'm pumped to get back in there this weekend, especially with all these people and all the different techniques and everything. I'm excited to see what the castle does. I think it's going to like unleash on everybody.
Most definitely.
Well, this has been a very active site before. I mean, you're only as good as your last, explosion of activity. Like some of these houses, some of these sites. For instance, the house in Harrisville, Rhode Island, the Conjuring House. That's billed as the most haunted, place in America now. Certainly one of them. This Hinsdale House is active, but it is as active as it is that time. It can be the most haunted place in the country that night or that hour. And then it may change a while later. It's very.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't take into consideration when they go to locations. They see it on TV or they hear everybody else's stories, and then they go there for a night. And then and then they go there for a night and nothing happens, and they're like, "Oh, everybody's full of shit. This place isn't haunted at all. Nothing happened." And you got to remember that these are people, and we don't know how any of this works, and that you can't make it perform on command. You got to go back more than once, even if you have absolutely nothing happen. Like Hinsdale House, when I was there, we had absolutely nothing happen. But I can't wait to go back there because I've seen the potential and I've seen the other stuff that everybody's experienced.
I've been going to the Hinsdale House before even Daniel owned it. So I've had many great moments there, but I've also had moments that did not appear to anything to the similar nature of what I dealt with before. But I know Carl does look at the same light. It's like, I have a child, so it's like if you take a child's toy and put a battery a certain way, the toy might not work. So in reality, it could be the people you have within the confines of that location. If it is just you as the same person, but other people with you, that can be an interaction and difference in how the haunting can occur, because we are the batteries. That's how a haunting occurs. Everybody forgets where the root word of haunted or haunting comes from. It's from the individual that's in that premise or involved in that situation that the haunting occurs. So it's really depending on the people and the mindsets. So there's a lot of nature to why it could occur. And maybe next time you go, you'll have somebody different and there'll be a conduit to it, and the activity might be off the walls.
Right. And that's why I can't wait to get back, because you just never know. I mean, and like you said, it can change from night to night based on the people. It can change from hour to hour based on the room. I mean, you might just be in the wrong spot in the building at the wrong time, and you miss everything that's going on.
Definitely.
That happened to me. That happened at Monroe House and OSPH for me. Great locations, but I didn't have any earth-shattering experiences. It was just kind of like, all right, this is an old place. Here I am. But I also know they don't just perform on command. It's not a spiritual circus. They don't do that.
See, OSPH for me is one of the few only times that I've actually seen scratches appear out of thin air. One of the few times. And
again,
scratches occurred, but OSPH, somebody was walking, and all of a sudden I didn't see them touch themselves, and you've seen 3 scratch marks appear on their neck, and it was mind blowing. But see, you had a different experience. OSPH that night was off the hook for me,
Well, you can't guarantee. You can certainly amplify your odds. You're at the right place, where activity has been reported. You're beckoning it, and it's still no guarantee. But you can increase your odds of seeing something just by being at the right place. Like James and I, 2 weeks ago, we were at the Oliver House, and I was not expecting anything, of course, but Oliver House did not disappoint. I actually saw a ghost there, and you know how rare that is. For me, it has to be empiric for me, to say I saw it, and I saw this thing objectively. We were down in the basement. Our guide was telling us that that it is thought that somebody's buried down there because she found phalanges. She found what looked like finger bones. Well, they were finger bones. She doesn't know if they're human, but the forensics unit of the state police is not returning them. So she can't confirm that they're human. But the story is that somebody's buried down in that earthen floor basement. And just as soon as she said that, on cue, out of my right peripheral vision, I thought it was some electric panel I hadn't noticed when we went down to the basement. It was that vivid. It was a bright purple, which I couldn't have anticipated that. So I know it wasn't just something to do with my eye. It wasn't any ocular anomaly. I looked. It didn't move with my eye. I turned and looked at it, and this light unfolded like a scroll, and there was a woman's face there. I mean, I assume a woman because it had a dark hair pile on top, and it was for 3 seconds. It's a long time to see an apparition like that. As you go 3 seconds, and I'm looking at that, and then it just folded up and went away. Unfortunately, my colleagues there did not see it. They did not see it, so I have that isolated, insular experience. So they just have to go on my word.
But we all had experiences that night.
We all had something.
Something
Happened to all of us.
So
I had.
Well, going off that, Cynthia asked, "What is your guys? What is your craziest experiences that you remember so far? Like something that really just kind of like stands out to you above everything else."
I would say my first possession case where I, instead of bringing a psychotherapist or psychologist or psychiatrist in, the psychologist actually brought me in. And it was definitely something. I didn't believe in demons at that point. This is about 9 years ago. Did not believe in demons, even though I was involved in demonology and studying it and researching cases and being involved physically with cases. I really didn't put any, anything to stone and said, yeah, demons exist. So being called in by a psychologist and being involved in that case was probably the most scariest, most earth-shattering case for me involvement because of some of the things. There were psychological situations involved within that case, but you can't, unless you have like alien hand syndrome and your hand get bigger, certain parts of your body gets bigger, which there was nothing of that sorts within that case. Seeing a face triangulate and the eyes going fully black and the ease of speaking different languages and a recurrent pattern. And of course, what some would call superhuman strength, where you're able to out-wrestle basically two guys that were bouncers that were 350 plus pounds, and you're only 22 years old and they're probably 6'1". So, like dealing with that, experiencing that, and the level of ramifications that happened from that case afterwards and beforehand, just the feeling of it as well. I think stepping onto that property, and this is in Salem, Massachusetts, this case happened. So of course there's already that nuance and that, that atmosphere, but stepping onto that property, it was just the equilibrium shift that I've never ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
Like Carl and I usually always talk about a chemical balance that happens called fight or flight when certain situations of fear
And your body reacts to it.
Your body reacts to it. So, and in those cases, situations, specifically that first one that occurred, like I'm telling myself the whole time, dude, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. This just doesn't feel it. But I'm too freaking stupid to actually do so. So, I went in there and handled the case how I should have in that purpose and time. But that would definitely be my scariest because of just it changed my faith. It made my faith stronger, but it really made me acknowledge something that I think many people question, and they have the right to because it's so rare. They maybe never come across it. But I definitely came across it that night, and it definitely was scary. I can't lie and say I didn't want to poop my pants. I really did. But I did every best to quench those butt cheeks, man, and just keep going. To be honest with you, like it's funny now. It's funny now, but in reality, I was scared shitless. But you can't show that when you're in the face of the client. So definitely my scariest moment. I think there's going to be a lot of cheek clenching this weekend with Matt's event. But not for the paranormal. Yeah, I always have to watch my butt cheeks around Matt.
Listen, just because my girlfriend's in Scotland, don't make assumptions, guys.
Uh,
How about yours? What was your scariest case, Carl?
that goes back to that long ago case when I was 21 years of age, and it was the first time I had encountered a real bona fide demonic possession.
I was hoping you'd tell this story. This had me so jazzed up on the Salem.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, the subject was a 14-year-old boy. It was Providence, Rhode Island, the west end of Providence, and I was consulted. They knew I was a paranormalist and performed paranormal investigations. This family I was friends with, and they invited me to stay overnight to observe the son. He was a 14-year-old boy. I'll say his name, Lucas, and he was undergoing some fits of transformation where he would be taken over by some personality. Even though I was young, my inclination was to think it was probably some form of schizophrenia combined with epilepsy, maybe a dissociative personality disorder, as they used to call it. They got some other term for it now. It's like split personality. And so I stayed overnight. I was kind of apprehensive because I heard he was going through some real fits at times. So I'm reclining on a sofa. At 1 a.m., I was just starting to doze off, and suddenly I heard this, how do you describe it? Ear-splitting scream, like someone was being murdered. Well, I jumped up and fiddled for the wall switch, the overhead light, got the light on just in time to see this boy's door, his bedroom door open. I was adjacent to the bedroom, and his door just opened up. It didn't like boom, but it was like opened up, and his body sailed out of that room like he had been flung. And it didn't stop there. His body was spinning around like that, spinning around, careening against the walls, and he's screaming during it. Then I'm standing there transfixed. What am I supposed to do? I've never seen anything like this. So he did a backwards flip and landed on the sofa and started jumping up and down and flapping his hands. And this deep guttural laughter issued from his throat. Then he looked at me. You want to talk about looking into the face of hell. He looked at me. His face is what we call triangulated. He didn't look human because he looked more reptilian. His eyes were like bright green, and they had little dots for pupils. And it looked like his gums had receded. He just looked at me, and then he turned at me. I said, "Oh, why is he looking at me?" So he jumped at me, and I caught him in mid-jump, and I was trying to I was my usual 200 pounds, and I'm trying to restrain this young guy. He pushed me right off him. So I'm saying, how do I restrain him without injuring him or myself? I don't know what he's going to do next. That was what was so unsettling. Minute to minute, you didn't know what was going to happen. Then he came out of it, but he was shaking, trembling, calling for his uncle and crying. So what we did was an expulsion was arranged for the next week. I think I had suggested that. Expulsion being a minor form of exorcism where, the participants try to drive out the invading spirit. I figured it can't hurt with what he's going through. He had been psychologically evaluated. They just didn't know what was wrong with him. So a week later, that was on the third floor of this house in Providence. And on the first floor, we set it up as with an altar, makeshift altar. And the participants, we were seated in a semicircle. And when the procedure, he's standing, sitting there looking apprehensive. Then something changed in that room. The floor shook. The house groaned. I thought, is this a truck going by? We got an earth tremor. Then it got very, very silent. And my chair with me in it moved back against the wall. It moved across the room. I hardly had a chance to be startled. It felt like somebody was pushing me. My chair just went smoothly back across the room. And this boy fell to the floor, was taken over by this spirit. And what happened during the next hour and a half was just horrendous. I don't know if you'd believe some of the things I could tell you. For one thing, there was a picture of Jesus. They had a lot of religious iconography. They were Catholic. And the picture of Jesus, I remember looking at it and hoping he would look at it too. And so I looked at this boy, and he's running around the room. And I looked again, and that picture had inverted. That was probably the most alarming thing that night. The picture had turned itself upside down. I was there. I didn't see it. That was what was eerie about it. I didn't see it flip over, but it was upside down. And at one point, I felt that the spirit, this demon, was going into me, which was not like me. But all of a sudden, I felt this onrush of emotion that was alien to me. It wasn't my feeling. I felt anger and I felt panic combined. If I had given into it, I would have jumped out the window. And we were on the first floor, but I would have crashed through that glass window. That's what it was telling me to do. I just concentrated on my own sense of self. No, I'm me. I'm not going to let this happen. I don't know why this is happening, but I'm not going to allow it. And then I felt in the back of my head, which is the Mons area, the brain, I just felt like this tingling, like fingers, and it just pulled out of me. And at that moment, a young lady in the next room, who was one of the participants, she fell to the floor and started pulling out her hair by the handfuls. It seemed like it went from me to her. My mind was stronger. I just wouldn't let it take over. So I got doused with a bowl of holy water that night too. And it was successful. He came out of it. He was better after that. Now, if this was psychosomatic or something to do with a malady of the brain, like an interruption in the electric, the synapses, the transfer of thought in the brain, then he wouldn't have gotten better right there. And no matter how you slice it, nothing explains the paranormal activity that was going on. You could say PK. He was projecting this through his own mind, and maybe that's what was happening. But it's just impossible things were happening that night. And I wanted to go. I did not want to stay there. I said, I don't care how big or controlled I think I am. I just want to go back. I want to get into my car, my Dodge Datsun, and drive back. Oh, my mom's. I wanted to drive back to my parents' house, and I knew there's food in the refrigerator. How nice it will feel to just get out of here and just go back home and be normal.
Now,
I knew if I did that, that would be fleeing the scene. If I fled the scene, I couldn't go back to something like that, because what was so scary is you didn't know what was going to happen next. Minute to minute, I'd never be able to face it again. How do I know I'd be able to go back? Plus, it wouldn't instill any confidence in the people I was there to help. I was there to help him and his family. So I started. Now, outwardly, you think I was calm and, like in control. In fact, he approached me and I just went, stop. I don't know why I did that, except I couldn't think of what else to do. So stop. And it stopped him and halted him, and I showed compassion for him. I mean, maybe I was supposed to say, cast you out, unclean spirit. But I showed compassion. I went up and put my hands on his shoulders and looked him in the eye, and he was better after that. I mean, I wouldn't want to have done this on my own, and my twin brother Keith was there, so he can corroborate. But yeah, it was quite a scene, and he recovered after that. He didn't have any more incidents.
Now, why do you think?
A month later, he was with his parents. They drove by a church, a cathedral in Providence, and he was in the back seat and he started to scream. He had a little relapse, but nothing after that, nothing since. He was not plagued by this demon after that. So, how it happened, we don't know. He picked up a glove in a cemetery and brought it home. Then he kind of got spooked by that. His parents told him that he needed to bring that back to the cemetery, wherever he found it, and the glove was gone. So that seemed to be what started it. It went on for his ordeal lasted 1 year. And
I was going to ask you, why do you think, and how do you think something like that happens and starts? Like, why him? Why that kid? Why that instance? And it's not as common, obviously, as it's portrayed in the movies and in TV shows. Right. But why? Is there a reason, or is it just random that it happens to certain people?
With him, I think it was partly his age. He was at that adolescent threshold where he was like establishing his own identity, his own sense of self. I know he had some gender confusion issues. Like sometimes he thought he would, wanted to be a girl.
And this is 45 years ago, mind you.
Yeah, so this was not accepted commonly. I think that played into it. That didn't seem to be something that was screwing up his life, but he had mentioned that. So that's a component. Identity crisis, being 14 years of age, was scared of that glove he picked up in a cemetery. So you put this all together, it was kind of a lodestone. Also, he was Puerto Rican heritage. He was born in New York City, but his family had come from Puerto Rico. In fact, I visited Puerto Rico to do some research there. I was there for 4 months the year before. So I was 21 years of age when this happened. And I think those are factors, but a lot of boys that age, a lot of children, go through that transition period and they don't get affected like this. Something about it, maybe because they are spiritual people, they believe in their culture, they believe in that spirits can possess, the spirit can take over. So that's a factor. Whatever factors caused it, they combined and created this lodestone, and that's why it was taken over. Now, that's as much as I can analyze it. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes it just happens, and you'll never know why. Because other people could have the same. His sister had the same heritage. She never went through anything like that. Their friends had, but something about him, unique character, and sometimes the demon is just what it seems to be. No, I can't talk about it without getting wound up. I relive it from a distance, but I kind of feel it again.
I mean, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like I don't know about Mike and Matt, but like I've never experienced anything that I would consider demonic or evil. I mean, obviously, like if you're an asshole when you're alive and you're in a prison, you're probably gonna be an asshole when you're dead. But like I've never experienced anything like evil. You know what I mean? So like to hear these stories, it's just unreal. And I believe you 100% because again, I have no reason not to. I have no reason not to believe you.
I just think a little bit of what it was like to be there because it's just, a freaky scene. It's not normal to see these things.
Right.
And to live through them. Yeah.
And we always hope that people don't experience what we deal with. I think like I said, a lot of people want to, but they
feel it's a glamorous
feel.
Right.
Questions that deal with it. And in fact, it is rare. Carl and I, as dual demonology, try to come at it in a scientific approach, but a theological approach as well. And in that sense, though, we do go by statistics of cases that we dealt with. You have a man that's done this for 47 years, has only dealt with 5 cases of demonic activity. I've done this for 15 years. I've only dealt with 5 cases of demonic activity. So it shows you how rare these things are. Equivocally, it's very, very rare. And but the times that we dealt with it, they've been pretty mind altering on what we dealt with.
Another thing I go out and look for, that's for sure.
They can usher that in. I don't know. What?
I'm not like super religious or anything, but like I don't go out and look for these things. But I hear, stories like that, and I hear people that say they've dealt with negative energies or inhuman energies, and I don't know if it's a lot of times people's mind playing tricks on them or them almost like you said wanting it to be a demonic energy because that is what's popular and that's what's scary and that's what gets them, notoriety. I just don't. I like how you guys are very straightforward about it, and like you said, it's 5 cases so far that you've dealt with. All these cases that are actually something that you would consider possibly demonic. You're not playing it up like a lot of people do, and I appreciate that.
We have a couple questions in the chat room.
Sure, glad to.
We're going to go in order. So with Darren has a question. How many times can someone have an exorcism done before they have to go to a mental facility?
With Annalise McKell, it was, and she died from malnutrition. She, of course, it's really dependable. So you got to remember the father of medicine performed exorcism. Hippocrates performed exorcisms as psychotherapy on people that were either quoted to have demonic possession or to have a psychological ailment in that time of ancient Greece. So, of course, exorcisms can be done on people that have psychological ailments, but of course, in that same sense, it's more like a placebo effect. It could work, but it also could do more damage. As far as people that are truly demonically possessed, could it make them go to a mental hospital? Yes, it could, because you think about it at the point in time is when a person is in that possession stage, there are stages to this. There is infestation, oppression, possession. The oppression stage is where this entity beats down this one individual continuously, where they allow a moment of invitation. And most people want to disagree with this, but unfortunately, At some point during the depression stage, the person either gives up, purposely or unpurposely, like saying, I can't do this anymore, or, please take me over, whatever. There's some sort of invitation which allows the possession to occur. So
Did you say invitation?
invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in some form of fashion, if you think about going to work every day in a negative environment, those negative environments can create stress, anxiety, and can lead to medical issues like cancer and other disorders within the mind. So you think about this evil force of nature possessing you and inhabiting your body. It will start to wear on your body. It will start to cause a lot of medical issues. So there is a possibility if a point of exorcism is not successful to rid this entity, the person could die. The person could become a vegetable within the mind, or even in some form become crazy enough where they have to go to a mental hospital. And to be funny to bring this up, but there's a Gravedigger song called Diary of a Madman, and it's a perfect example of a reality. It could happen. They could be possessed and kill somebody, and then they're either in a mental rehabilitation facility or in jail.
It's a hell of a reference.
Yeah, suppose the invading spirit has pushed away and subjugated that person's personality, and essentially that person ceases to exist. They must at some level be still there, but the demonic spirit is too strong, and that's what's in the asylum.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can come out through something like that go through something without being unscathed,
Most definitely.
without being scathed by it.
And it does, the dealing with that, there's a lot of people that have what we would naturally now call in modern time post-traumatic stress disorder, things that occur. We do tend, I even, some of the most horrific cases I've dealt with, I went to go see a psychiatrist or a therapist or somebody that I could talk to get it off my mind. I also tell people that deal with it as well, you should seek the same guidance, because you're going to have these nightmares. You're going to have these the continuations of these memories within any kind of process of your life. So when these moments happen, it's good to go talk to somebody, especially outside of a religious standpoint, because there are things that can happen medically to these people afterwards. It could be
Mike, you're muted because I see Mike try to talk. You're muted and we can't hear you.
Been muted this
You
whole
muted the entire time.
whole
I thought you were
fucking
just muting
time.
because something was going
No,
on.
it's been amazing. I thought you did it purposely. I was going to thank you after the show.
And then I saw
I'm literally like, there's been
no
times
idea.
I've been trying to talk, and why you guys couldn't tell me like 45 minutes ago my
Well,
microphone
We thought you were
Mike put his questions for half an hour and he's like,
I'm not
nobody's
paying that.
answering me.
Well, your mic is blocking your face.
I'm like, oh shit! I literally am like, it. Yeah, I think after tonight I'm getting rid of this pop filter, so you're gonna hear all my P's. Anyway, so as now I feel like I gotta turn my microphone
haven't
down.
heard
I've
you
been
all
turning
night.
it up and down all night.
Kind of blessing.
So as demonologists, I guess my question would be, is there a difference in possession and demonic activity more with religious families and religious people than there are non-religious?
There are exceptions, I'd say so.
You know what I mean?
Or they embrace that belief.
So
that
there's
the
more
spirit
with
can take over
religious than
themselves.
non.
I think for an exorcism to succeed, as well as for possession to occur, the person has to have some pre-conviction that it's possible. The person has to believe that they can be rid of this spirit for it to succeed. I think that has a lot to do with it. There's always that exception where sometimes the demon is just there and you don't know what brought it on. In my case, there's always been some kind of division or suppressed conflict, that paved the way for this. And as James was mentioning, part of the lore of demons is that they have to be invited. They have to be invited, and like the vampire, to cross the threshold has to be invited. And the demon has to receive some sort of invitation. And that can come in various forms. That could just be the person. There should be rules against it, but apparently there are not. The person might be going through a bad time and they just say, oh, I give up on everything. I wish, I don't care. about heaven or hell or something, and that creates an invitation there.
Yeah, it's a good question too. Is like for a long time in my early childhood and my early adulthood, some people would call it atheist, agnostic. I didn't believe in God. I was out to disprove God. That's one of the reasons I got into the paranormal. Not because I had dealt with a haunted experience or anything like that. I wanted to disprove God or prove God. So, I dealt with these experiences, at my first time, like I said, not believing demons existed. I thought most people were crazy or was some sort of PK activity because I do believe that tends to occur more so than we think it does. So, I was in that standpoint. I don't believe in these things, but I dealt with it. Even though I wasn't the person being inhabited by this force or being inflicted by this force, I still was involved. So I think in any form of fashion, you can be agnostic, atheist, you can be Hinduistic, because you got to remember, even though you're non-Christian, there are other religions. Most modern religions and most followed religions have some form of demon. So even though you might not be from one basis, you could still have that basis in another nature. So it can happen in all formulas.
Darren's question actually is what I was going to ask. Like, how often I was going to say, like, do you think these demons and these negative entities hang out in prisons or hospitals, or is it more of like a residential thing? And he says, have you guys had to do an exorcism in a prison environment, and how dangerous is that? And can other prisoners be affected if like they're just in that area?
I've never heard of an exorcism being done in a prison.
I have,
but
not. I don't remember the names
Yeah,
and locations, but I have heard of a priest that did that.
Most of the time, an exorcism will be done, if done by a Roman Catholic priest or a Catholic priest, would be done in the church, or in some cases the hospital if need be, if like this person is in the psych ward or whichever, because they don't understand what's going on. But Carl does, but I've never heard of any experiences of it being done in jail or prison. I wouldn't necessarily do it. I would try to have some way of it being done outside those confines, because I really do think the place that you do an exorcism matters as well. You don't want to do an exorcism in a place full of hatred, because it's like New Thought, laws of attraction. You have all these people that are negative, and you're the one positive being in that location.
They're going to be mad at
you. All that piss and vinegar, while you could pull them out if possible and bring them to a neutral or a more positive location, such as a church. Regardless of what you believe in churches or temples or whatever, they are a place of peace for many people. So that nature of peace and that atmosphere is there. So that's why it's usually done at those locations, or even a hospital. Like,
because you see all these shows and all these other groups and stuff that claim that these locations that they go to have this demonic entity, whether it's an abandoned prison or a hospital or whatever, and they just claim, there's whatever going on here, so it's got to be a demon that just hangs out in the basement of this prison. There's a demon here, and that to me just seems, why would a demon hang out at a place that's abandoned where there's nobody there? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know a lot about it, but that doesn't make sense to me.
I feel like people overly use the word demon, and they try to compare it to like Monroe House, for instance. Monroe House, there is a negative entity in Monroe House. He's very negative, but would I consider him a demon? No. And I think people misconstrue those different types of energies.
Yep.
And I feel like sometimes it's just to bring investigators and bring people in.
Yeah, it's very easy to jump to that conclusion. We lack the clinical terminology, the nomenclature for these. But people do jump to that. If it's something that's a little hostile, if it threw something, or people get a really negative feeling in there, of course they jump to it's a demon.
Yeah,
and no one else to call it.
Yeah, and more so, Carl's had a lot of places to go in his livelihood of doing this as well. But I've been fortunate enough to investigate from the East Coast to West Coast. Some of these locations, like the House of Wills and Bobby Mackey's, and a lot of these places that have been quantified to have demonic activity. And the cases that I've really truly dealt that were demonic, I have never even got that similar feeling that I did at those locations to these clients' houses. And I think that's very apparent when you deal with the demonic case. that feeling, regardless if you have any sort of ability of intuition in metaphysical realm, you will feel it. And I've been on cases where people don't have those clairvoyant or clairsentient abilities, and they felt it once they hit the property, once they hit the home. So a lot of it, of course, like Mike said, and Carl said, it's for exposure. But we also tend to forget that a lot of the times that we don't know, a lot of these places could have been used for magic and dark arts. And there are people out there that believe they can summon and conjure up these forces, like using the Goetta and stuff like that. So there could be people that have gone to these locations and attempted to conjure something, and they might have. And it lingers there because it's binded there through some use of ritual. But in that same form of nature as well, is we're human. We don't control these things. They manipulate us to believe that we can control them, but they're all most likely not going to stay there, like you said. They might stay there to prey on their next victim, but
They might not have a choice.
they might not have a choice. But it's not really a common occurrence, in my opinion.
Would you say that demons? We all know the classic portrayal of demons are spirits or inhuman that have never walked the earth. Would you classify a demon as that?
That's how Ed Warren would define them. But Ed Warren saw things in very black and white terms, demonic or angelic. Yeah, I think there is such a creature, a creature we can call it, that's inhuman, that never walked the earth in a human form. And they're less than poorly understood. We don't understand them at all. They proceed from some other dimensional reality. I don't even know if they're all necessarily hostile towards humans, but they're powerful, and they are insidious, and they look for opportunities to ooze into our world. I don't think they're hell bent, so to speak, on taking over the human race. That's thinking again in black and white terms, but there's something out there. They're not human. One example is the shadow ghost, the shadow person. What do we know about them? They violate everything we think we know about paranormal manifestations. Are they ghosts? Are they demonic? We just don't know, but they're not human.
You should have been on our podcast a couple weeks ago when I mentioned that.
Oh.
I think I was talking about that with Nick Groff.
Yes.
The many theories of shadow people is, are they demonic? Are they angelic? Are they time travelers, astral projections? That's shadow people are just like religion. That's one thing that is never going to be thoroughly explained and can never be proven.
I have a different opinion of shadow people than Carl does. We were both in Mike Rickstecker's book about shadow people. He is one of the leading specialists in shadow people. But there's various different opinions of it. Do I think Carl and I believe that all of them are demonic? I definitely could say no. Have I dealt with cases where a shadow person was prevalent, or at least a manifestation of a shadow person, very tall in stature, a part of some of these cases? Yes. But that doesn't mean that every single shadow person is demonic.
No.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think they're all, no, not necessarily demonic. They're just, they seem to be their own classification. There's something that suggests they are interdimensional because they move rapidly. Every shadow person I've heard described or that I have seen, they have a rapid motion to them. They can take on, they seem anthropomorphic, basically human, except they are the absence of light. It's like somebody cut a human figure out of reality and you got this blank space. And they move, they walk, but they glide, but they move quickly. So they're not on the same time frequency as we. I knew a shadow ghost. I wasn't on a first name basis with him, but where I was employed for 14 years at Old Slater Mill site, campus in Pawtucket, Rhode Island,
Which started the American Industrial Revolution. By the way.
Yeah, it was a very famous place, the birthplace.
It's a phenomenal place.
Yeah, I know. We spent some interesting hours there.
We have.
Matt may remember this. I would tell it in the stone mill, that 5-story structure. That is the Wilkins mill that used to work with Slater Mill. It was a machine shop, and there's a water wheel pit. That was home to a shadow person. And I first heard about the shadow person. I've been at Slater Mill about 3 months working there, and we had some guests on the grounds, and they were really nervous because they said they saw a shadowy man walking around inside. I said, "Well, I'm staff. I'll go in and see." And we didn't find any. I and a coworker didn't find anybody in there, but there were numerous reports of the shadow person, and I finally saw the shadow person in January of 2013 in the context of a paranormal investigation. I was there with Investigators of the Unknown, and my friend Jeremiah Ouellette was there. We were just leaving the mill. We had it dark in there. I said, "Jerry, one of your people still here?" He said, No, they're all outside. So we looked at each other, and then we both turned and looked, and in between two of the antique machines on display was this figure, like a human being in the outline of a person. Looked like a person in shadow, but it was very odd because it was moving rapidly. It's just gyrating and moving. So we go to get a flashlight, and then it goes away. Then it came back, and it faded away again. And I saw it a couple of times downstairs in the water wheel pit too. And it was photographed. For some reason, shadow persons are easier to photograph than actually see with your naked eye.
What was that?
I didn't. It's out in my car. I have a photograph of it, but you can actually see
walkie-talkie.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it was a walkie-talkie or some shit. Somebody still
Yeah,
got
that
a
was my fucking man.
How could that make its way in here?
That was my phone.
Because what we're talking about. Of
It literally
course.
sounded like it said, "Hey, Matt."
Mike
There's
still
my
has a
phone.
Nextel.
No, I pulled up my Facebook and our live feed just opened.
That's funny. All right,
Dean-
I have to duck out super quick, but it's been great chatting with you guys. I'll see you both in a couple days. I'll see all you guys in a couple days. Keep going, keep killing it. Enjoy the rest of your cats
Love you,
night.
Steve. I'll see you Saturday. Be safe.
Yes, I'll see you
Yeah,
guys soon.
are you going to smuggle in a Ouija board? You may have heard of those.
Listen, I'll bring one.
I don't think he knows what a Ouija board is. Have you heard
I'll
of a
bring
Ouija
one.
board, Steve?
I'll bring one, and I'll see you guys
Somebody-
soon.
That's actually a green screen behind Steve.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no Ouija
fake.
boards there. That's fake.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you later.
They don't bother me at all.
Cheers, everybody.
Hey, Saturday, I know you had that experiment you guys wanted to do. I'm down for it if that's what you guys want to
Really?
do. Because I want to do a scrying session. I have a scrying mirror that I want to use there. The thing about it is, I don't know how much history you guys know about this location. I'll give you a little bit about it real quick.
Yes, please do.
The location that this castle was built on was a major hiding space for the French during the French and Indian War. Between the mountains in Vermont was a big hiding space for the French. I can't tell you one of the things that we captured in my last visit in Vermont, but there is an Indian in that attic who protects a little boy. The scrying mirror that I have, the one that I posted in the group chat today of the Ouija board, has an attachment to an Indian. So I figured maybe if I were to bring that, do a scrying session with that scrying mirror in the attic where the Indian's already up there, doing what your experiment, do you think maybe I could pull that Indian using this mirror and maybe see what we can get there?
It's quite possible, sure.
Because I want to do my live scrying session live on Facebook.
You're not gonna get any service in there, bro.
Yeah, well, I got Sprint.
Well, in reference
You
to
do it on the
Matt's
front lawn.
in reference to Matt's shirt, #legendary.
Epic.
I mean, I'm down to do anything.
Yeah, it sounds really good. It sounds like I of course never condone certain things, but of course in the need of experiment and if everybody's willing and
For
everybody's
the
on
purpose
same
of
page,
advancement and
Yeah.
experimentation.
then yeah, definitely why not? Let's see what of course being I never believe in high provocation, but sometimes you have to push the envelope to kind of to see what's on the other side.
Oh, see, I don't provocate. I don't push. I just, I've been doing a lot of studying of the scrying mirrors, and I own about 5 already. I love them.
As long as you get to let me start the session, mirror, mirror on the wall.
It's going to answer me anyways.
I was gonna say if it doesn't point to Matt,
Who's
I'm
the most
leaving.
beautiful of them all?
Oh.
To go by and look to see Matt in the mirror and did my reflection.
I'm going home. I'm taking the 10-hour drive home. I'm like, peace. I'm excited.
Mirror.
I'm excited. My wife and I are leaving tomorrow. We got an Airbnb in Rutland with 2 other special guests and myself. Oh, you going to bed? Baby's going to bed.
This happens every week.
Yep.
Part of our podcast.
Say hi.
Hi.
Did she see us? Hi. Hi, you.
At least the baby's not
She couldn't
crying.
hear
No baby's crying tonight.
Baby's crying. Baby's crying. We're not crying.
Say bye. Say bye, baby.
Nice, sweetheart.
Night.
Good night.
Bye, baby. Good night, kid. I love you. Kids.
I love them, man. I love having a child. It's
She'll be
great.
2 in January. She was in here. Get that fat hoss out of here.
Yeah, so we have.
I wasn't talking about my wife. I was talking about the dog.
At last check, we have something like 15 or 17 guest investigators alone coming out to run this shit show. And just the different techniques that we're all going to bring and all that excitement. And I appreciate you guys and everyone else that's coming out to this to help restore this castle and just have fun. This is going to be the most relaxed event that anyone's ever been to. The guests are going to have a good time, and the sky is the limit. Anything you guys want to do, totally on board with. I know the other investigators have some ideas too. Mike wants to do scrying. I basically just want to run around and have fun with all my friends, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, definitely. I plan to bring an airbed just in case, air mattress, and we should attempt to make an air mattress levitate that night.
I agree. And I also want to see you and Dan Class and Kyle race air mattresses down the front hill.
I'm not risking my air mattress.
Let's
You guys
do
have
it.
fun.
I want to see it so bad. That hill is steep. I walked up that hill once. I will never do it again, man. I felt like I ran a marathon.
I got 2.
You really gonna do it? I mean,
Could you imagine us actually riding air mattress down?
Yes, I can,
Hopefully
actually.
it won't snow, but
I got 2 rafts. We'll take the rafts. down.
Bring the raft. I would totally do it because I'm a moron.
I guess
you
we
and
could
I are going to
snowshoe
get along.
whatever,
We're going
right?
to get along.
you got to run into it and dive on it. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Momentum there. Who's gonna do it?
I'll bring my helmet.
Unfortunately, my wife's going to be there. She's going to call me an idiot in front of everybody.
My girlfriend will be there. She'll probably yell at me and laugh.
Yep.
Mine won't.
I'll have 1 beer and she'll cut me off. She's like, you're trying to show off in front of people.
I'm glad your wife's going to be there for that reason, Mike. But for the viewers that are still watching, we do with the Booze and Booze podcast. 4 out of 5 of us are going to be live and in living color at this castle, and we are going to do something special, and we're going to do some live broadcasts with all our guests.
Yep.
Living in color, I can act like Fire Marshal Bill if you want.
I want to see it. I want to see it. Fire Marshal Bill, we need a Homie the Clown.
We don't play that.
Yes, you guys are all good then. We're set.
We need Jennifer Lopez to be dancing in the background. Yeah.
Well, I do hear Matt likes to dress up in drag, so
I got
maybe
some
we
booty
could-
shorts I can bring up.
Oh, we go.
You guys know how good I look on the
I knew those
replay.
bitches were all special effect. I knew it. You just look like that sometimes.
None of that was special effect. That's that face swap app. That's actually Matt dancing. He's putting the face swap app logo on his actual.
Dude, not really. Dance. That's not you dancing. Come on. Oh.
You got the moves like Jagger, bro.
I got a few tricks up my sleeve.
So you could teach some MMA fighters and some boxers on weight loss very fast. You know, instead of taking weeks to lose the weight to get to the certain, you lose it in a day, Matt. To get to
All you
that.
got to do is take those belly dancing classes with me that I offer on the side.
Oh, this is going to be a night of experimentation, isn't it? Inhibitions just melt away.
You know, the Indian in the cupboard's coming out of the cupboard that night.
Oh God, what? That sounded bad.
But
This
it's
sounded real bad.
That sounded real bad.
Listen, Erin's watching. She's already told James to give me a kiss for her. So I mean,
I will. I'll give him a nice Scottish kiss for you. I'll wear a kilt that day so you can see what's nice and long.
Why do you get all the fun?
His kilt's gonna be long.
It's called regimentation. Regimental, you know.
welcome from Australia.
God, we have the shittiest fucking podcast in the world. I love it.
We have so much fun. That's all that matters.
It's dude. My microphone was muted for 45 minutes, and no one said a goddamn word. I loved it.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing.
Thought you was being quiet.
I just thought you were letting the guests talk for once. I was like, this is great.
Well, I wish I could recreate my magic moment. It was Halloween night. It was a lot of years ago. I know it was a lot of years ago because I was 20 years old. And I did cross-dressing that night, except we didn't call it cross-dressing then. That was the only time.
What did you call it then?
Well, I can't. Our listener, Facky or something. I don't know.
Oh God.
No,
Okay, never mind. Yep, it's 2020. We might butt hurt people.
You can't say it. Oh yeah.
I just thought it was putting on makeup and a nice top and all that and a wig, and that's all I called it. And no, I went out to a Halloween party, actually a nightclub like that. They had a Halloween party, and it was disturbing in a way because I couldn't do it again. I could never achieve that magic. But I was a much better looking woman than a man. I mean, I wasn't a bad looking guy when I was 20, but as a woman, it was magic, and I cannot replicate it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I would never try it now. You'd say, "You were the gorgeous one. Come on, dude."
Just think of Carl as a woman and the song "This Magic Moment."
Dude looks like a
Look
lady.
within your eyes will last forever. Forever to the end of time. Whoa, well, I'm not going to dress like that. If I could I don't have a single picture of that night, but oh boy, I was like, this is a waste. I don't know what to do with it.
What I would do for a picture of that night.
But, it would have taken a lot more pictures to prove my contention.
That would be something like in a paranormal edition of Hot Tub Time Machine.
Wow.
Now I look like Ed Wood or something. I wouldn't look.
Hey, John. Tori took another shift tonight. Steve just left because he's got some friends in town, and Kenna's son almost burnt the house down.
Well, that's not bad.
Happy Wednesday.
What a night. Yeah. It's almost
Happy hump day.
Sounds like a pyromaniac she has going.
My mic was muted for 45 minutes. And, yeah, happy Wednesday.
It was beautiful.
This is what happens when you wear your boxers inside out all day.
His boys need a home.
It's been a long day. I'm ready. I got 10 hours of work tomorrow, and
Wow.
I'm staying Wildwood tomorrow night.
Nice.
Super excited. I love being at Wildwood. I'll be there tomorrow night with the wife. We're not doing any investigating. We'll probably walk around, do some pictures, watch a movie, pass out. And then we're headed to Vermont. 7-hour drive from there. I think we'll be in Friday about noon. Spend the day for my birthday. Have some no birthday sex.
It's Mike's birthday on Saturday, the night of the event. So
Oh,
I expect hugs all around. That is my birthday. I'm excited.
then you want to be the victim. You want to be the afraid person.
yes.
That make that.
You do a hug.
I mean, if somebody brings a bottle of bourbon, I might not be too afraid.
That is not an open invitation because we want the event to go off without a hitch.
Right.
Yeah.
No bourbon for Mike. You guys have not seen the second hour of our podcast with Mike, have you?
I know. 2-hour episodes suck. Those have become my hangover days at work.
Yep.
Like, it's literally like I get up for work at 4 o'clock in the morning and I tell myself I should not be driving right now.
Well, he gets up to that time. Yeah.
Nope.
Actually, my demon trap experiment, I don't know how available it is. It's probably on YouTube. I was conducting a paranormal investigation. This goes back next month,
Kirsten,
10 years
bourbon
precisely.
for Mike.
in Baltimore, Maryland, and that was documented for an episode of The Haunted. And if you look up, it's called "Stalked by a Vampire." Is the title of the episode on The Haunted, and that showed my spirit trap the first time I used that. And I invited the late Rosemary Ellen Guiley to be my assistant, my partner, more than assistant. And, we actually set up the demon trap, and it was we got not what was expected. We got chaotic. We definitely got results with it. You know, it's something happened strange, just not what we anticipated. So you know, it'll be under controlled conditions, but we don't know if it will happen the way it did before. It wasn't the victim that got attacked; it was somebody else in the room. That's what happened. You know, and by attacked, I mean I said striations on the back and a welts raising up with spots of blood on them, and you know she was oh. So it definitely hit somebody. It just didn't hit the targeted person because I don't think it was Ree Sadler, and I don't think Prism. And I don't think she was afraid enough. You know, I don't think she could muster that kind of dread or apprehension, you know, on cue, because it has to be, it's contrived. You have to just put yourself, it's a subjective experience. Put yourself in an unpleasant place where, you're just scared of something. And it's tough to do.
So just walk through Detroit.
Yeah. Whatever. So,
Scared of everything.
There's got to be something scary about Wilson Castle.
There's really, truthfully, there's nothing scary about Wilson. Every time I go there, I feel very comfortable.
Feels like home.
It does, and I've actually been told by quite a few people that I owned the land that castle was built on.
Well,
I was married in that castle 4 years after it was built. So somewhere in my past life, I was involved with this castle. And it just, every time I go, I feel like home. I'm comfortable. There's nothing other than the bats and my ass farting. There's nothing bad about this location.
Well, maybe fear doesn't have to be the catalyst. Maybe it can be some other emotion, even exhilaration or like it's a homecoming to you.
Well, the funny thing about this location, I feel like there is a little bit of fear in this location in me. And that's what's funny about it is my paranormal team, we filmed in this location. It's our second documentary. It's currently in edit. There's a female there that she's a little strong. And our first visit there, I felt a little standoffish with her. And my second visit, I was told, and I felt that she was attracted to me during this visit because she was mad at me about I did her wrong in a past life. So each time I go, it has to do with some sort of female. And I know which room this female is in, and I know a little bit about her. So she doesn't scare me, but I'm a little intimidated by her. That's about it.
But she fascinates you.
Yes.
And there's some kind of allure to her, or some, otherworldly.
There's just some reason why that I can't figure it out.
There's some connection there.
And
maybe that could be the lodestone we're looking for.
This female, there's actually, there has been a team there. When you get to Wilson, there is an actual picture of her that a paranormal team captured during an event, like full detail. You can see her in her dress, full feature. And it's the same female in the same room that for some reason, every time I'm in this one room, I just feel, I don't feel scared. I feel intimidated. Kind of like when you get in an argument with your wife or your girlfriend and she slams the bedroom door and says, I don't want you in here anymore, or I don't want to see you right now. Like, you're afraid to walk in that room. That is the feeling I get when I walk in that room. I don't get scared. I get like I'm walking on eggshells in this room.
I think I know what you're saying there. It's a fascination but a repulsion at the same time. it's because it's a fascination. It's a little scary.
Yes.
You're on uncertain ground. If you want to be the subject for that experiment, sure. I mean,
I'd like to find I'd like to pinpoint the perfect place for that experiment, and I feel like I want you guys to walk around and maybe see what you sense and feel.
Yeah.
It's your experiment. I want you guys to tell me where to go. I know quite a little bit about the castle, so I'm down to do it wherever.
you have a scrying mirror. Did you?
I have two. I actually own about 5. I have one that I will bring. I might. It depends. I'll bring both of them and see how the energy feels.
Okay, yeah. I have one, but it's in Connecticut. I mean, it belongs to a group in which I hold membership, and we were doing a
Who made it?
ritual with that one time. So
Who made that one?
I don't know where it came from. It was ordered. It was a $65 mirror. It's about 5 inches diameter. So
Okay,
it's a quality one.
I have one that's big enough. The one that I sent in the group chat. I don't know if you're in it, but I know
You're in
James is. But I have one. It's a decent size. It's big enough to hold a Ouija board. It's got both of mine were made by the same guy. Matt actually has one made by the same guy. But it's a
Mine was the one that was on the table at Parafest.
yeah.
Okay.
That's made by Dark Scries. It's out of Akron, Ohio. I actually know him. The 2 mirrors I got from him, the one is like a memory kind of keepsake frame. It's thick enough to where he put a Ouija board behind it with LED lights that are motion censored. So if something were to pass through that Ouija board through the glass, the lights would light up. Well, I had a few people do some research into that Ouija board and that mirror. I won't keep it uncovered in my house. There is an Indian attached to it, which is why I mentioned doing it in the attic of the castle, because there's an Indian up there that protects a little boy. But
Are
I
you
also
talking attic or 3rd floor?
attic,
Like way up, pigeon land.
yeah, with the ballroom.
Oh no, attic
Oh
is
yeah,
the
that
roof
is
house.
3rd floor. You're correct, 3rd floor. And then I have another mirror from him that he inherited a mirror when his grandma passed away. It's been in his family for 60, 70 years. And he turned that into a scrying mirror. Now, this mirror it's very energetic. It puts off energy, something fierce. When we were driving to Vermont for our second documentary at Wilson Castle, I had this mirror in the back of my partner's SUV, and he texted me. He goes, "Did Jason's grandma drink a lot of coffee?" I was like, "I don't know. Let me ask him." So I messaged him. I was like, "Did your grandma drink a lot of coffee?" He goes, "Yeah, like that's all she drank." He was getting the smell of coffee from this mirror. This mirror brings out the energy around it. So I think if I were to I'll bring both mirrors, because if you want to do the session in the room in which I told you that I feel like I shouldn't be in, I walk on eggshells, then I'll bring that mirror, because it's a positive mirror. It brings out the energy around it. But the other mirror I'll do in the attic. It depends on the energy on which mirror I want to use, I guess.
What happens if you have you ever tried showing a light through that mirror? Because the scrying mirror I use, I noticed if I held it up to the ceiling light, I could, see a very muted, shaded light. I could, so it had the translucence to it.
So that's if you actually take the glass.
Yeah.
Well, mine are all in frames.
Okay.
I've never actually taken them out. Mine are just
don't need to.
mine are both in frames. I guess it depends on the type of paint that's used. because I've actually made a few of my own scrying mirrors. I'll use like a matte black on the back of the glass, because you want the front to stay shiny, but you want the back to be black
Right.
to keep it in the frame, and that allows the light to still kind of travel through.
Well, bring what you got. And, try something.
Experiment, definitely.
Well, that was my talking for the
Thank you.
45 minutes. I didn't.
You
get
made
to
up
them.
for the time
You
of
were muted,
45
yes.
minutes. Your muted time.
I'm a talker. I love to talk.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we kind of got a group of us that like to talk, don't we?
Yeah.
Very much
That's
so.
why I love this show.
Well, I think Matt might have nothing, or feel you have nothing to dread or fear about experimenting.
Nope, not at all.
That's what I do. I love it.
And he's short of telling you like a demon to, come into me and, like crazy stuff.
I actually wouldn't even be opposed to that if I knew you could get it out of me, to be quite honest with you.
What? The
Yeah,
demons?
Being possessed by a demon. If I knew that Carl and James could get it out, I'd be like, come on, let's get after it.
Come on.
Just have the
Ah,
experience.
the demons. Oh God,
What's up,
George
George?
is here.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't. I don't have many enemies in my mind. Like, there's people I dislike, of course, but I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemy that occurring to them. So I couldn't do it to you.
Well, I'm not saying that I want you to do it to me, but I'm just thinking, like, going viral, getting views, and like, as long as I don't die,
Cool. But they're not about it for getting views or being viral. They do it because they love it.
I'm talking about me, man. This is about me, God. This is Booze and Booze. I'm a co-host.
That ain't nothing new.
Well,
So,
some of the things I've tried, I'm surprised I haven't lose my demonology badge or,
So if somebody wanted, because I've wanted, and I've thought about wanting to becoming a demonologist. It's fast. There's so many things about paranormal that's fascinated me. And where would you start? Like, how did it, I guess, how did you pursue it? You can give a short answer. I know it's 9:30. We're running a little over.
Half hour late.
yeah.
How I started was actually Carl and I at different times, many years separated. We joined the demonology band camp, and I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, I was about to Google search that real quick.
In all seriousness, though, is I got in for personal studies, but really, what was it pushing catalyst of getting into demonology, and where I think, and Carl can expound upon this more because he was around when it started becoming a more favorable title, but. For me, it is to become a demonologist is working with a reputable demonologist that is respected by the churches, and other people that could be quantified as a demonologist. So in my form and fashion, it was actually working with this man 10 years ago. I was his tech manager for Beyond the Veil Paranormal, and that was really the pushing point of getting me involved with demonology. So for me, I would say working with an LA demonologist that is reputable. How about you, Carl?
With me, it just seemed to find me. The darker cases, the malevolent ones found me, starting with the possession of Lucas. Why did they call me? They knew I was a paranormal investigator. Something about me, I guess. They felt I would stand my ground in a trying situation, and that it was. And the next case I was alluded to, they had an echo of demonic influence. So it just seemed to find me. And then after a while, I got a reputation as being. I saw myself in an article in a magazine. Somebody brought it. Hey, Carl, you're in this. You're mentioned. It's only like a couple of lines, but it said Carl Johnson, the demonologist. And I said, okay, has a nice ring to it. So this case is just people were contacting me about it. And then after a while, it became established as with that reputation of being a demonologist. So it found me. I didn't seek it, but I welcomed it.
Mm-hmm. So there's many ways, but the best way is like he even though not necessarily agreed with them, but this man also personally worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren. So in some form or fashion, what some people would call the original demonologist in the paranormal field, even though that's of course not true. He worked with him. So of course
I investigated with Ed and Lorraine, and I lectured with them 3 times. And yes,
I'm jealous.
I'm glad I did.
How can I touch Annabelle?
I haven't even been there. I've actually there is and I'm very thankful regardless of the politics of Annabelle. I of course got to boast a little bit because it was something that I will always remember, and I thank Tony Sparrow for this. But Tony Sparrow and Warner Brothers Pictures had me out for Annabelle Comes Home premiere in Monroe, Connecticut at Roberto's, where they do Evening with Annabelle, but it was for people that were influencers on YouTube, Instagram, where people have like 100 millions of followers and stuff like that. And I was thankful to be a part of that, where I was able to bless the museum, bless these influencers before they went into the museum. But to touch Annabelle, they would never let you do so unless you like punched the glass and touched her. But there are
stacking the odds against you.
Yeah, and there's
was the Annabelle doll that Zach Bagans touched fake?
That's
Was it the original Annabelle? Is that? I think it was the original Annabelle. Yeah, I think Tony Sparrow has that, owns it now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I had a strange experience. Maybe I do take too many chances because this day, I knocked over a tombstone in a cemetery, and I didn't mean to.
You're not invited to Wilson anymore.
Well, no, what it was I do cemetery conservation with a team in Johnston, Rhode Island, and Elise, of course, was there, and I was carrying a board they were using as a plank to pry up a stone, and I just tripped, and I pitched forward, and my hand went into the stone. I thought that would brace my fall, but instead the stone went right over. Dum, dum.
So he's implying that could be Annabelle. You could trip and fall and.
Well, now suppose I was talking on a Ouija board the night before.
Annabelle pushed him today, is what it was.
Yeah, or somebody had tossed Annabelle. It's real stunt. Yeah, okay.
It was probably
Tossed
Maybelline.
Annabelle.
It's probably
I would have to equate that. I would have to say it had something to do with it. Chances are, within if you have an experience with you touch a haunted doll, within 10 years you're going to back into a fire hydrant, or run over a dog, or or you're going to get a flu. Something is going to get you.
I touched,
Which it would anyway.
I haven't touched any doll, and that's been
I
my
touched
whole week.
a doll called Buddy, and supposedly
You touched the Buddy doll?
Supposedly our relationship. So
Chris was here watching. Chris, are you still here? Where's Buddy the doll?
where's Buddy, man? Where's my buddy?
Chris Vickers was there.
No, that's Chris Andrews.
Chris Sanders. I said Chris Vickers. Yeah, Chris and Sanders. Yeah, I should know because
They said you're missing some
Well,
faces
we're
on
talking
that
about
shirt.
Steve's no longer in here, but Steve and Chris actually know each other because they're both associated with the Talking Bards Society.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, I think we are up for some experimentation. I mean, because I know you guys are in the interest of knowledge and discovery.
Well,
That's what gets us interested in the paranormal.
See,
Yeah,
this is why I was asking about demonology. Is I focus and I deal a lot with angels.
Yeah.
And I was. What are your thoughts on an angelologist? Kind of the same as. Yeah, I'm like 7 beers deep. Okay, I can't pronounce
Whose fault
it right
is that,
now.
Mike?
Well, to be honest,
This podcast.
To answer this first is so demonology is very misconceptualized where it started and its origin point. So everybody looks at demonology as a study, of course, but unfortunately there are branches of the study of theology like eschatology and hamartology and angiology. Demonology actually branches off of angiology.
So
demonology is not its own it's not own subdivision of theology. It is actually part of angiology.
Oh, look what they got up there.
But
both deal with inhuman spirits like celestial beings.
they do. But more people are going to want to
That was a hard
focus
job.
on the evil aspects of nature because that's just human civilization. Evil is more tentative to obtain that traction to people's wants and needs. Like how many
It's
movies?
more of an alert.
Yeah, how many people have seen movies about angels? Like there have been, like what's the movie with the baseball, Field of Dreams,
Yes.
stuff like that. There have been movies on that concept, but compared to like a movie like Paranormal Activity, Insidious, Conjuring, those things.
because they're commercializing on demons. They're commercializing on evil.
Yeah. But so why not an angelologist? Actually, it's funny you asked that. There's this lady Lola, and if you have stories about angels, this lady Lola is going. She's involved with Scarefest, but she's actually doing research on angels. And last night, for an hour, I actually talked to her about angels because I had an angelic experience from a case that I believe what I was dealing with was very negative. So I want to call myself an angelologist because in any some form of fashion is that I don't equate the possibility of angels, but I also don't think angels affect people in a bad way. Anytime angels are ever there, it is for some sort of message or some sort of reasoning in defense. So I think, yes, you could study angels, but the reason I study demonology specifically is because I'm interested in helping people, and I'm interested in understanding how if demons were angels and they fell, what that
It's a
temptation.
classic definition of
Yeah.
fallen angel.
What was the temptation that allured them to follow Satan and Lucifer in the Christian and Hebrew biblical scriptures? So what was that allurance? What was that temptation? So that's why I'm more focused on the demons aspect of it. Not because I think it's cool, but to me, and I don't say this to sound mean, but angels are a lot more simple compared to the aspects of demonology and dealing with people. You know,
I
you
can get that. I
save
can-
somebody from an angel, that's bringing a message.
I can totally understand and agree with that. Like I've been working a lot with angels and trying to learn a lot of the differences between the both and trying to figure out the right path to choose. And I guess that's why I asked that, is wanting to figure out. But you told me demons came to you, the demonology idea
Yes.
came to you. And for me, it's been angels. So I've been trying to figure out like which route I want to go, and I've been leaning a lot more towards the angelic aspect. Even though I do believe demons do exist, and you're right, we may not all come across them. They're not in every location, but they're there. I just really wanted your input on that one.
No, definitely. It's interesting. Like nobody ever asked me about angels, but Lola did, and to be honest, like I've had more occurrences with demonic activity than angelic activity. So, like of course, I do invoke them within my prayers and ritual, but I also necessarily don't see them intervening as well. I don't have that ability, and so beside that one time, and where I will say, which was most interesting experience I've ever had in my life. But yeah, no, it's been a lot rarer of occurrence for me than dealing with the negative. So
I love paranormal.
Isn't it though? Now, when I was a member of TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society, we had in our group an angelologist on our staff. She was Renee Laverdiere. She was our angelologist, and Keith and I were the demonologist. Now, she never transferred over to the television show. She was seen in one episode, but briefly. But they never billed her as an angelologist. But I think it was like kind of the mirror image of the demonologist. You have to be kind of an angelologist to be a demonologist. You have to be acquainted with the other side, and that's what she did. She took a more literal interpretation of the fallen angels, whereas I take more of a quantum physics approach to it. I think that we think of, I like to say this, we like to think of demons as, they've been cast out of heaven and now they are confined in subterranean sulfurous caverns, and they spring forth to prey on the souls of humans. But I think every demon that has ever existed, I just don't know what else to call them. You take every one of these inhuman spirits that has ever existed, you could fit them on the head of a pin. They're just not that physical. They can manifest as physical beings, but they're contained, they're quantum, they're projections. And they
I've
have
been getting into a lot of stuff.
minds.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I've been getting into a lot of stuff lately. I've been studying a lot of quantum mechanics, physics, down to numerology. You know, it's to the point I believe our bodies were chosen for a certain reason. We were given the name. Our birth dates were chosen for a certain reason. Like everything is written out for us.
It could be.
And it's ever since I've been getting a lot deeper into numerology and reading into quantum physics, it's literally it's opened my mind up to why do I get up tomorrow and go to work? Why am I getting paid to pay bills on things that really don't even exist? Like, why am I doing this? Why? It's sad to know.
I so much know what you're saying there.
You open your mind up to all these quantum mechanics and this numerology and everything. It's like, why?
We are projected from a plate, from a disc. If you accede to the holographic universe theory, that we're all on a plate and we're projections of that, and we perceive our realities as three-dimensional and temporal, and yet we are projected as illusions, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems a little futile that we have to play this out. So I need another 100 years to figure it out, and I just need to speculate a lot.
Well, I'm as far as I know, I'm going to be alive until I'm 80. So I got about 30 more years to go. No, wow.
You're in your 30s,
myself
Mike.
older. 50 more years to go.
All right, 50. We'll give you 50 more years.
Talking about quantum mechanics, and I can't even fucking do my own math.
Well, all Dr. Faustus asked for was when he sold his soul was 4 and 20 years of worldly pleasure and power. I mentioned it once. I mentioned it aboard the USS Salem, in fact, that I have met one person who sold his soul to the devil. That's what I heard. I tend to believe it because I know the individual. It's somebody you might even know if I mention the name. So even in this closed circuit, I shouldn't. But
You can, though. Feel free.
you'd know. Read my thoughts, and you'd know who I mean.
I know who you mean.
Okay. I said he already. That narrows it down by
Does it
half.
begin with a Z? I don't know. Spit my
Oh, Zozo. I get it. Yeah. That's what you're alluding to. Yeah.
He probably wouldn't tell me if I was right or wrong anyway.
I can't. I've already hinted too broadly. These broad hints, but he's he sold his soul for. I'm not saying this is a potentate or the king of the world or somebody that's fantastically wealthy, but he has met with a measure of worldly success, and he had nefarious beginnings. I know he made a deal. Now, maybe the rest is just chance and serendipitous for him, but he did sell his soul, and that's what's happened. And
Shiona, I was thinking the same thing.
yeah, he does not regret it at all. And I'm not saying this is a super evil person either. Perhaps self-serving, but he did venture.
Everything's a
that,
demon
and
when
as far
you're
as I know, he
self-serving.
never recanted it. My guess is that he just says, "Well, that was just chance that I was in. I said that at one time, but I don't know." But
I
it-
do
is
want to
something
rack your brain
paranormal.
a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
Carl, I want to rack your brain a lot this weekend as far as
Please do. Yes, we got a lot to
Physics.
I
talk
know
about.
who it is.
I'm going to be in
Here's the
Friday.
I can't say. Oh, I know what you're saying. I can't tell you.
That means I was right. Excelsior!
Oh, this is how
That's what our group chat's for.
this is
I
how
do want to I want to
to
rack your brain this weekend, Carl, as far as the physics and numerology and everything.
Mhm.
I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, we need to talk more. All of us do. All of us.
It's
I'll
something.
have some beer, and
Okay.
I think Kirsten's bringing me bourbon. I don't even know if she's going to be there, but
She's going to
apparently
be there, but she's not bringing bourbon. I'll talk to her later.
My person?
you piss off.
Well, my person?
Yeah.
Bourbon.
Yeah, I'll stop her, Matt. Don't worry about her.
No, you both piss off.
My
I know.
my paramour has family obligations, cannot be with us, but we knew this before, so
Oh, she's not going to make it?
Those guns.
at least
Not as big
she
as
can't be
Matt's.
there. No, she was disappointed too, but I understand, the logic of it.
I like
And
you, Kirsten.
one more paranormal site, and like, Mom, you're not going to be there. I understand why she needs to be with her family then, but
Fair enough.
she'll be at Friendsgiving though.
Yeah. Or,
Excellent.
Yes.
Friends, you know all about Friendsgiving.
I'm bringing the eggnog.
Hagen.
I don't even get to enjoy it, son of a gun. You have to
With
bring regular.
vodka.
How about that?
I'll make you some non-alcoholic eggnog, James.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You got it, baby boy.
Yeah,
All right, guys, we're getting a little close. Little.
We've made
little
Mike
close.
sick. That's all we had to do.
No, I gotta finish packing. I gotta be up at 4 a.m.
yeah.
I gotta finish packing.
We've exceeded this by about an hour. Yeah.
Yep.
But we did. You remember that, Matt? When I mentioned that on USS Salem, I know one person about who'd made that transaction, that metaphysical
I
deal.
think that was last week, though. Actually,
But I didn't mention that at the Paracon.
I think you did.
At Parafest, I thought I might have at US
I
Salem.
think it was Paris.
USS Salem.
Unless Matt remembers it, because.
Matt doesn't forget.
I didn't see your lecture at the Parafest.
But do you remember that USS Salem, though?
Oh, you're right. That's
It
where I
was
mentioned it.
Parafest.
I mentioned it at Parafest the
Yes.
first time I've come out about that.
I did. Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't there for it, but I think I can pick up what you're putting down on who it is.
Yeah, and I just don't want to make. I don't usually mention it because then, of course, people are going to proceed and like, come on, tell us. You said it's somebody we recognize. You got to tell us. But you guys are special, so. But I'm telling you the truth. This man actually made the transaction, and I think he gained from it.
It's up for him, man.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's just not a super. He can't do everything. He can't wish somebody dead and it happens because I'd probably be gone by now. But
Did somebody literally just go? Yeah, we know.
okay. I have given some hints here. It's somebody that has not always been fond of me.
Did somebody put it in that tone though? Like, I literally heard in my headphones. Yeah, we know.
I didn't say that. I mean, I didn't
In
whisper.
that same like.
We didn't say it.
It was like, yeah, we know.
Wow.
I just heard that in my headphones.
I believe you.
No, sleep tight. Keep your butthole tight.
That's our slogan for Saturday night.
And your luck, it won't be a succubi. It'll be an incubi, Mike.
Why me?
What? Sucking.
Mike's
I'm
Mike's gonna be there. He doesn't.
I'm not doing your experiment now. I don't know how I trust you.
Lights are off in that experiment. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap this beast up.
My butthole tickled.
Well, it had to be a good conversation if we stayed this long.
It was an excellent conversation. I thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Wrap us up.
We're gonna have so much fun Saturday. I can't
Yeah,
even wait.
hell.
It's going to be a great time. We still have the viewers here. Next week, our guests are going to be the adventure team. Brian,
It's our Halloween
Rochelle,
Halloween
our Halloween
episode.
special. Brian Murray, Rochelle Stratton from the former Ghost Hunters. A couple good friends of mine are going to be here. We're going to talk horror movies and everything else. So extra special event for that. I want to thank Carl and James for being here and putting up with our nonsense. They only had to put up with 40% of us tonight, which is really good. And we were well behaved without Tori and Kenna keeping us calm. We were pretty good tonight.
Yeah.
Not so bad. It's a little raunchy at times. Not so bad.
That was nothing. You have no idea what goes on usually on this show.
Mm.
You'll
Half of
see
it's 'cause
Saturday.
my mic was
firsthand,
muted.
We'll have to come back on and experience it.
Absolutely.
Half of it's because my mic was muted, so you're lucky.
That was the best part of the whole show.
Fuck off.
But,
I'll see you Saturday. You
we'll see all of us
Twat.
Saturday. It's going to be a
I'll
great
see
time.
all of you guys. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, guys. We do appreciate it. We're going to see you soon.
We'll do
Viewers,
it.
thank you for being here. As always, tune in next Wednesday for more shenanigans. Keep tuning on Saturday evening because we're going to go live with these guys and whoever else wants to talk. Guerrilla style from the cell phones when we get service. It's going to be fun.
Next weekend. Brian and Raquel for Ghost Hunters. Next week. Halloween.
Brian and Rochelle
episode.
next week.
That's
This
a
weekend.
2-hour. That's a 2-hour special.
Everything's a 2-hour special nowadays.
It's whenever we decide to quit. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you,
Peace
Carl
out,
and
everybody.
James. Love you, Matt. See you guys Saturday.
I love you all.
Peace.
Laters.